كويس. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى. They are subhanallah, how in week 12, and we'll be calling this interactive revision a wrap. May Allah enable us to reach there, and may Allah make it this sessions very beneficial for all of us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. So let's begin. Normally we start with our warm up because I like you to come with the right intentions. I like you to come with the right preparation in mind, with the right emotions, ready to learn, ready to embark on this adventure with me, so that we can try and revise as much as possible. So make sure you're in the right mindset, you're feeling excited, you have the right intentions, set everything aside, have your pen and paper or somewhere to write with you. If it's too early for you, like for me, get a cup of coffee or something. So yeah, just make sure that you're in the right mind frame and you have the right preparation in mind. So ready, alhamdulillah, fantastic. Great. Bismillah. Yes, we start in the name of Allah. Bismillah, nabda. Beautiful. Yeah. So have those intentions in mind. Just be ready. Let's get excited and ready to learn. Have the mindset of a learning person. That's the most important thing. Okay. So today what I want you to do for me is I want you to mention one adat istifham. Okay. So istifham are question words. So just mention in the chat one adat istifham. It could be a harf, it could be an ism, whatever comes in your mind when you hear istifham. What comes in هل نعم هل is one of the أداة استفهام. لماذا why? Okay, yes, هل again. If somebody has mentioned it, don't be afraid, just mention it again. Yes, همزة الاستفهام, yes. كيف, how. أين, where, right? Again, yes, همزة الاستفهام. ما, what, ما. متى, when, أين, yeah, متى, من, yeah, who, متى, ماذا, you have ما, you have ماذا, yeah, so they both mean what, أي, yes, which, yeah, لماذا, why, right, beautiful. I think we covered most of them, if not all of them. So you guys mentioned quite a number of them, and these are the أداة istifham that we have. Okay, so that gives you a hint that today, inshallah, we'll mention something about adawat al-istifham. Okay, last week we talked about amr and nahi. So I just like to mention some concepts from previous weeks so that it can stay at the front of your mind, and that's how you remember things, because the more you think about things, the more you mention them, the more you hear about them, the more you remember them. So last week we learned about amr and nahi, commanding and forbidding. I don't know what kind of a person you are. Are you a commanding person or a forbidding person? But anyway, just to recap on that, amr, basically you have this thing that we memorized in Baina, sukun a'u i'ana. So when I'm commanding somebody, I say لا تذهب, sukun, anta لا تذهب, أنتما لا تذهبا, sukun a, أنتم لا تذهبوا, sukun a'u, أنت لا تذهبي, sukun a'u i. And then you have again أنتما لا تذهبا if I'm commanding again feminine, so sukun a'u i-a, and then you have أنتن لا تذهبنا with a noon there. So لا تذهبنا sukun a'u i-ana. That's kind of like, or تذهب, تذهبا, تذهبوا, تذهبي, تذهبا, تذهبنا. That's just a recap of what we did on Amr and Nahi, so that you can remember these things as we move on, inshallah. Okay, so let's begin without wasting any more time. Today's ayah, inshallah, is a very short one, very juicy one, short one, but it has a lot of concepts, and some of the concepts are slightly deep. So we're going to try and see how much we can be able to cover this week. Again, we have another 5 concepts to cover this week. So without wasting time, you know what happens. I'm going to break you out into different sessions. You guys are going to discuss this ayah, and you're going to just identify as many elements, as many things that come to your mind. Okay, so just identify whatever it is that you can. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, just know that the minute you join the breakout room, don't, like be awkward or anything. We're here to learn. This is a study environment. So just start discussing, okay? Just start talking, because I'm only going to give you 3 minutes for this particular, because it's a short one. And the concepts, I think, are going to be a little bit obvious to you. So with that in mind, let me create those breakout rooms. Okay. So what we're going to do is, there's about 20 of you, or 19 minus me. So if we're to do, let's say, 4 groups, I think is good. 4 groups will be good, so that you'll be about 4 to 5 people in every group. I'm going to change that to 3 minutes, should be fine. Let's see. So I don't know. I don't know how to set in a way that you guys are able to share the screens. So maybe you could just have Quran, this ayah open on your phone, or open on your physical mushaf or somewhere. I don't know, because I can't. I don't know where to. Maybe I'll have to check the settings, inshallah, later on how to make sure that you guys are able to share screens. But I think you should be. Just try it. See if you can be able to do that. So, okay, I'm gonna set the rooms. The rooms should be open right now. So just make sure you join. If you see the pop-up screen on the pop-up window on your screen, go on and join. Let's not waste time and start the discussion, inshallah. All right. Okay, and for those of you who are home or are going to watch the recording, this is the part where you pause the video, and inshallah, next time you hear my voice, we're going to be discussing the ayah, inshallah. All right, I see guys are coming back. Okay, alhamdulillah. Great. All right, so first of all, I want to confirm one thing. Were you guys able to share your screens? Did somebody try, and were you able to do it?
No, our group, I did from phone.
Okay. Anybody tried and it worked? Anyway, it's not important as long as you manage to discuss the ayah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us.
Yeah, we did the breakdown the Arab, and also we tried to do a little bit the surf.
Beautiful. So what did you find?
Like is the harfu istifham, and then يحسب is a fi'l mudariya, and then al-insan is outside doer, and then an is harfu nasibatu lil mudariya, and yutraka is the fi'l mudari mansub, and then Sudan we say this is hal.
Beautiful. That is hal.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else has anything else to add? I know that's probably what you guys also figured out, the other groups. Anything else somebody noticed that they wanted to add?
From group 3, the Ayutraka, we identified that like it can be like a master, so it can be some kind of mafool fi mahalli nasab, but we don't know what kind of mafool it would be.
Beautiful. We're going to discuss that today, inshallah. And yutraka is a compound ism. We call it in Baina. In other terminologies, we call that masdar mu'awwal. So it's acting as an ism. Yes. Beautiful. Anything else somebody discovered?
About
else?
the
Yes?
sarf and hasiba, this one, I'm not sure. I heard that it goes to 2 groups, hasiba yahsabu or hasiba yahsibu. When it goes to yahsabu, then it is samia kind of like that. And when it is yahsibu, then it is really hasiba. And my group, other sisters also saying is fataha. It also count for fataha too?
Mostly sami'a and hasiba.
Hasiba,
Those are the
that
two
too,
families.
that's true, I had too.
Yes.
And
Yes, that's a
yutraka
good
is the
point.
yeah, and the yutraka is the majhul, right? Mudariya majhul.
Majhul. Exactly. Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to say that. Yes, beautiful. I think those are the things that you guys mentioned. That's what we're going to look at today, inshallah. If you have
Inshallah.
questions, please hold them off. I think once I explain the concepts, then some of those questions might be answered, because I realized last time I took the questions and then it took longer and we wasted a little bit of time. And I don't want to waste time, to be honest. I want this to be very, you know.
And Hasiba is from Zanna wa Akhwatuha?
From the what?
Zanna wa Akhwatuha family.
Dhanna wa akhwatu. I'm going to mention that, but I'm not going to discuss that, because I think that is something I am putting off to discuss in phase 2 of this. If we manage to get to phase 2, we'll discuss dhanna and akhawatuha, because for me to discuss dhanna, I have to discuss something called af'al al-qulub, and that's something that maybe we did not mention in Baina. Maybe some of you might have heard about it or not. But so that's something that I want to discuss later, inshallah, but I'm going to mention a little bit about it. There's some noise coming from one of you. Please maybe go to a quiet place or mute yourself. Okay, so this is the ayah that we're going to discuss, and these are the concepts that we're going to discuss, inshallah. So I'm going to explain them, and then if you have questions, you can ask, all right? So obviously you guys said istifham, and you mentioned to me all the adawat al-istifham, you know, where, when, how, which, all these questions that we ask, right? What I'm going to mention about adawat al-istifham is that there are only two harfan, there are two harfs, if you will, and then the rest are asma. The rest are isms. So you have two harfs and the rest are isms. This is what you need to know about istifham for now, okay? So what are the huruf? What are the two harfs? You have hamzatul istifham. Let me try and write here. So you have hamzatul istifham, and you have hal, both of which you guys mentioned. And then the rest, so these are harfan. And then the rest are asma. So everything that you mentioned, mata, aina, all of that, they're asma. So we treat them as isms. So they will have 4 properties of isms, just the way we treat other isms like Muhammad or whatever. We treat them as isms. Okay, so these are the only ones that are harfs, and we will say in i'rab, we say la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. It doesn't have any place in i'rab because it's not an ism. Only isms have a place in the i'rab. Remember that important point? So that's what istifham is all about. Okay, questions. And of course, depending on the question word, if it answers the question what, is going to be treated as a maf'ul bihi. If it answers the question how, is going to be treated as a hal. If it answers the question aina, where, is going to be treated as a maf'ul fihi or a dharf, right? So depending on what question it answers, then we treat it in that manner. Of course, there's more discussion to be had about istifham. There's more to this. This is a basic, like, crash course on istifham. But yeah, so that's what istifham is all about. Okay, clear?
Alhamdulillah.
Fantastic.
Can you clarify the asma? Some of them are mabni, so they don't have fatah. They don't have the,
all of them are mabni. All of them. They don't change. You don't say matayu, matayi, mataya, right? It's just mata.
Okay.
Mata,
Except
mother,
ayu.
mother. Except ayu, yes. Good.
Except
Good
ayu.
observation. Except ayu. Ayu is the only one that is mu'rab. Is the only one that can be ayu, ayya, ayi, right? But the rest are mabni. Good observation. Yes. Thank you very much for that clarification. Any other questions on istifham? Are we good? Okay, fantastic. So let's go to this thing called التعدية لمفعولين. So what I'm going to mention here is there are 3 kinds of verb. There's لازم, there's متعدي, or متعدين in this case, and then there's متعدي بحرف. Sorry, not متعدي بحرف. We'll talk about متعدي بحرف later on. متعدي لمفعولين. I'm running out of space to write, but you get the idea. And then of course you have متعدي لثلاثة مفاعيل. We're not going to talk about that, right? This is what we're going to focus on today, because the متعدي لثلاثة مفاعيل is a rare one. right? It doesn't really occur so much. And if we have a chance, we can maybe mention it in phase 2 of this course, inshallah. So, لازم, متعد, متعدي بحرف. Okay. لازم, these are verbs that don't take a مفعول به. They don't take a مفعول به, مفعول به specifically. It could have a حال, it could have a مفعول فيه, it could have any other kind of مفعول, but it does not take a مفعول به. What do we mean by this? Okay, so for example, the idea of التعدية and لزومة is that the action, you ask yourself, who is the action happening to? Who is the action happening to? So you have a doer, and then you have something or someone that the action is happening to. The doer is the one doing the action, right? But then the action could be happening to something or someone else, right? So if the action is happening to the doer, then this is lazim. Because now it's not extending the action to something or someone else. It is making it lazim. It is doing, it is making it mandatory to the doer. The action is limited to the doer only. It does not extend to something or someone else. For example, if I said, I slept. I slept. I am the doer, right? But the action of sleeping, who is it occurring to? It is still occurring to me. I am doing it and it is occurring to me. So it is limited to only me as the doer. This is what we called lazim, right? Lazim. Then you have muta'addi. Muta'addi, this is where the action extends to something or someone else. So for example, if I said, أكلت التفاحة, I ate an apple. I'm going to use English example so that you can understand the Arabic better. I ate an apple. Or maybe let's make, to avoid the an, I ate cake. Okay? I ate cake. I am the doer. I am doing an action of eating. But that action of eating is occurring to something. It is occurring to the cake. It is happening to the cake. So cake is my مفعول به. So now this is متعدي بفعل واحد. This one, this verb takes on one مفعول به. So this is متعدي لفعل واحد. Okay? That's what happens there. Is that clear so far? Before I go to متعدي لمفعولين, we understand the concept of لازم and متعدي? Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Fantastic. Alhamdulillah. All right. So now we go to متعدي لمفعولين. Same thing as متعدي لمفعول واحد, but now it's not just one مفعول به. Now it's two مفعول بهs. For example, if I said, this is very difficult in English because you rarely have verbs in English that have two مفعول بهs. In Arabic, it's a common thing, but in English, not so common. Okay, but
like I gave this person something, you think?
Beautiful. Okay, yes, that's a good example. Where do I write? I write here. Okay, why is my pen behaving like this? I gave Ahmed cake. I'm obsessed with cake today. Bear with me. But it's working. So I gave Ahmed cake. So now you can see the action of giving is occurring to Ahmed, but also the action of giving is occurring to cake. Right? So now there are two مفعول بهs. Right? I gave Ahmed cake. I gave who what? Right? So this is متعدي لمفعولين. Okay? So that's, and then you have متعدي لثلاثة مفاعيل. Same concept. Now instead of two مفعول بهs, you will have three مفعول بهs. It's a rare case, but it happens in Arabic. Okay? So that's, I hope that's clear.
So it only talk about the when is about متعدي like مفعولين or ثلاثة, all only talk about مفعول به, right?
Yes, only مفعول به. For example, you can have a lazim verb that takes on a hal. Like for example, I slept. If I say I slept peacefully, that's a hal.
Yeah.
It's describing how I slept. Right? It can have other mafa'il. Only مفعول به. Right?
Okay, so this concept متعدي is concept about به مفعول به.
Yes. Most يعني that's the idea. Whenever we talk about التعدية, this idea of التعدية and لزومة, whenever you hear لازم and متعدي, your mind needs to go to مفعول به only. Most يعني, yeah, that's the main discussion.
جزاك الله.
Okay, so just to refresh your memory, I'm gonna show you a page in the Baina textbook. You know, just to refresh these أفعال that are متعدية لمفعولين, these verbs that take on مفعول به, because remember when we're doing the wheel of names, if this topic comes up, I need you to give me a sentence. So you need to know some of these verbs that take on to مفعول به. All right? So, for example, علم يعلم تعليما, to teach. You teach someone a concept. You teach someone something. So you can see someone, something, to مفعول به, right? وقى يقي وقاية. In English, this word is not لازم, is not متعدي, sorry. It's maybe it takes on it's متعدي بحرف. Something we'll cover later. So for example, in English, I say, I protect you from. I use the word from. In Arabic, you don't need from. You just say, وقيتك شرا. I protected you from evil. Or وقيتك, or يقيق something, like he protects you from something. So you don't need the from in English. You don't see min. فَوَقَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَرِّ. No, شَرَّ. Just direct. There's no min, okay? And then وَفَّى, يُوَفِّي, again, to give somebody in full, to give, you can say a reward, or but to give somebody whatever they deserve, in full measure, in full account. That is وَفَّى يُوَفِّي, right? To recompense. That's the English, the big word that they normally use. But yeah, just to if somebody does something and you pay them in full, paying in full, that is وَفَّى يُوَفِّي, right? So again, you can see if you translate it in English, it doesn't really bring out the meaning, but just know the words. جَعَلَ يَجْعَلُ جَعَلًا. Again, this is something that we might mention in phase 2 later on. But جَعَلَ يَجْعَلُ, like you make something into something else. This idea of transforming. You transform this into this, right? So if I say I made clay into a pot, I turned clay into a pot. جعلت طين, يعني I took clay and I made it, I constructed it and I made it into like a cup or something. So that kind of idea would be جعل, and that would be متعدي لمفعولين. اتخذ يتخذ, to take something. Like for example, Allah says in the Quran, فاتخذوه عدوا. Take him, يعني شيطان, an enemy. Take him an enemy, right? So again, in English, this you can see that it is متعدي لمفعولين. رأى يرى رؤيا. So these ones, starting from رأى, ظن, حسب, وجد. These ones, you can see the meaning has to do with the mind. Like if I say, I found you, or رأيتك, رأيتك ذكيا. I perceived you intelligent. I perceived you intelligent, right? When I say that, I'm not actually saying I saw you. I didn't see you with my eyes. Like I imagined you in my head, right? Dhanna, to think or to assume, right? This dhanna, this idea, again, is in the mind. Hasiba, again, to think, to assume. This idea is in the mind. So when you assume something to be something, when you think something to be something, when you find something to be something else in your mind, all these ideas, right? Wajada, same thing as wajada, to find something to be something else in your mind, right? So found him patient. When you find somebody patient, that's an idea. That's in your mind. You can't really see or physically find patience, right? So all that. So this is what somebody mentioned, ظن and أخواتها, and you have أفعال القلوب. All this topic, we shall discuss about it some other time. ترك يترك تركا, to leave something, يعني to leave it صلدا. This one I will put a star on it a little bit because it's not really very clear. It could be حال, and it might not be actually متعدي لمفعولين. It could be something else. So put a star on that one. أعطى يعطي إعطاء, to give somebody something. This again in English, we just give the example of that. So this one is a clear one. جزا يجزي جزاء, to reward. You reward somebody something. I rewarded you a book, right? Again, this one is also very clear in English. سقى يسقي سقايا, to give drink. This is not easy in English, but you can actually see the meaning. To give someone a drink, a particular drink, maybe milk. Yeah, to give somebody milk. It's also similar in English. أدخل يدخل إدخال, to make someone enter something. Again, yeah. So this one, it will depend with what comes after it. So again, I will put a question mark or a star on this one. But yeah, it can work. It might not really work very well because Jannat is because it's a place. This could be a ظرف. You enter a place, right? So it might not necessarily be a مفعول به. It could be a مفعول فيه, right? بدل يبدل تبديلا, again to change something into something else. So exchange this for this for this, that idea. And رزق يرزق رزقا, to give you a rizq. So if Allah says, for example, He gives you rizq, or so رزقكم رزقا. Again, this one, depending on what it mentioned, like for example here, rizqan, this is not actually a maf'ul bihi, this would be maf'ul mutlaq. So again, another star on this one. But that's, I think you have an idea of what we're talking about, right?
These verbs, do they always have two mafools, or it depends?
No, it depends. I don't necessarily have to mention the two maf'ul bihi. Sometimes we expect the two maf'ul bihis because the verb makes sense, the verb is complete when you mention the two verbs. For example, if I say, let me write here. It's not writing. Okay. I gave you a book. Okay, the meaning is complete in the sense because I gave you what? I gave you a book. But can I just say I gave a book? I can say this. I gave a book. One maf'ul bihi. I gave a book. What did you give? I gave a book. Right? It will still make sense. It will have one maf'ul bihi, but somebody has to know who you gave it to. You understand? So you can still have one maf'ul bihi, you can still have all the maf'ul bihis, but these verbs, normally, we expect two questions. Who and what? Most of the time is who and what. Sometimes it's who and who, sometimes it's what and what, but most of the time is who and what. It answers both of those questions, right? Questions? Any other questions on that topic? Are we clear? Okay. So that's important for us to understand التعدية لمفعولين before we understand مصدر مؤول. Okay? Now, مصدر مؤول, this is where it gets a little bit juicy. مصدر مؤول is a sentence that behaves as an ism. Like you can easily replace that sentence with one or two isms. Okay? So, let me give you a bunch of examples. But first, before I give a bunch of examples, what I'm going to mention is there are three main adawat or huruf that give us masdar muawwal. So you have an, you have inna, and then you have ma, masdariya. Okay, these are the main ones. You have others, you have law, you have kay, you have others, but most of the time you'll see that these ones are the ones that happen a lot. So I'm only mentioning them because they happen a lot. And why? Because I want, at the end of this exercise, you're going to give me a sentence. So I need you to know what you're going to use. Okay. So an obviously comes with mudara'. We know this. It makes the mudara' mansoob. Inna comes with a jumla ismiya. So jumla ismiya, right? Inna Ahmada ghadibun, مثلا. Ahmed is angry. So inna comes with that. And then ma, masdariya obviously comes with another fi'al, mudara', we can say, or just a fi'al. Yeah? And together, they form a masdar mu'awwal. All right? Like ما يفعل. ما يفعل, we can easily replace that with an اسم and say فعله. أحب ما يفعله. I love what he does. I love his actions, right? You can easily replace that with that. So let's discuss a little bit about that مصدر مؤول. Let me clear this. Okay. All right. So if, for example, let's start with an. If I said يريد أن يأكل. Yeah, يريد أن يأكل. He wants to eat. I can just take this whole thing and I replace it with one word. When I say he wants to eat, he wants, like in Arabic, you can actually say that he wants eating, right? Right? So يريد أكلا. I replace that with the masdar. That's why we call it masdar mu'awwal, because I can replace this whole concept with one masdar. And it still makes sense, right? What does he want? He wants eating. So yeah, يريد أن يأكل يريد أكلا. Same discussion. So you can have an entire long sentence, but that sentence can easily be replaced with just one ism, one word. What is the direct meaning or translation of التعدية? This would be عدى يعدي, the verb. I'm not so sure, to be honest. That's something I need to again confirm. Normally, I don't really check the meanings of these words, but that's an important thing to actually know, because Arabs don't just name things for the sake of naming. They have a methodology to their naming. So normally that word would have to do with the concept, I imagine. I will look it up, inshallah, Ima, and share it in the group, inshallah. It's not coming, I'm not recalling, or
It could
I
be
can't really make out the matter.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah?
It could be transitive and intransitive verb.
That's the understanding of it. That's the English definition of it. But Arabic, the way they translate things is very, very connected to the meaning. Like, it's very simple to understand, right? For example, like مبني للمجهول. It is fixed in the unknown. Like, it has to do with the understanding of the word. Like if I say transitive and intransitive, you can't even know what that is. But in Arabic, the way words are named, it will make you understand the concept better. For example, استفهام, questioning, right? Like, it's very direct. It makes you understand الحال, how, state, right? It makes you understand what we're talking about. So that's how words are named in Arabic. And I'm sure التعدية also has to do with this idea of, but I'll have to confirm, inshallah. That's something that's I'm not familiar with that, or if I did, I've forgotten it. Okay, so this is يريد أن يأكل. This is the example of أن. أن plus مصدر مؤول, أن plus فعل مضارع, sorry, gives you a مصدر مؤول. Now the other example, for example, if I said سمعت أنه قادم, right? سمعت أنه قادم. Now I can take this entire sentence, أنه قادم, this is an entire جملة اسمية, right? I can just replace this with one word, because what did I hear? I had this, or I had this concept. But in this case, look, أنه قادم, سمعت, سمع, سمع is متعدي لفعل واحد. I had a sound. I had something. So this whole thing can be the مفعول به of سمع. Now there is a certain case where you have a verb that it doesn't take on one مفعول به, it takes on two مفعول بهs. So for example, if I said حسبته, let's take the same verb that we have here. حسبت أنه قادم. So if I say حسبت أنه قادم, I know حسب takes on two مفعول بهs. But instead of two مفعول بهs, what I have is a sentence, is an entire جملة اسمية. So what you would see them saying is that this sentence has replaced the two مفعول بهs of حسب. In other words, I expected حسب محمدا or somebody, or sorry, حسب محمدا قادما, because again it's two مفعول بهs, right? So حسب or حسبت, because now we are talking about me, حسبت محمدا قادما, مفعول به number 1, مفعول به number 2. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But now instead of saying محمدا قادما, I replaced it with a whole sentence. Okay, so I could even with inna and the who, right? So now you see that this sentence is actually sitting in the place of the two مفعول بهs of حسب. Is that concept
And it
clear?
is called sadda masadda mafulain.
أحسنتي. Exactly. When you go to the إعراب books, you would see this concept. سد مسد أو في حيز something something. So this idea في حيزها or وما حيزها. So you'd see أن وما في حيزها سدت مسد مفعولين. Something like that. Yeah. So whenever you see this سد مسد, it's basically just telling you that this has preoccupied the two مفعول بهs. You had two مفعول بهs. We expected two مفعول بهs because this verb takes on two مفعول بهs, but now you gave me a sentence. So now what am I supposed to do with this sentence? I'll say, okay, this sentence, it was supposed to be two مفعول بهs, but now because it's a sentence, it's stepping in the place of the two مفعول بهs. Go ahead.
So that's here is for the two مفعول به sadda masadda mafulani. Here is for jumla ismi, it was applicable. For the other example, an yakula, that cannot be sadda masadda, right? That's only one maful taking, right?
You can still say مصدر مؤول سد مسد مفعول به. It can still apply.
Oh, okay. So this an yakula also masdar muawwal. This is also sadda masadda mafulain, right?
Not مفعولين. Now this will be only one مفعول به. So that's
Only
why you
مفعول
most
به,
likely, yeah, you won't see the سد مسد. So you just say والمصدر مؤول مفعول به. Or you can say والمصدر
مفعول به,
مؤول
yeah.
سد مسد مفعول به. Yeah, you
مفعول به,
you
yeah.
can see either way.
Yeah,
Just to
yeah,
understand
because
what
I clear, yeah. So this one is talking about only maful, sadda masadda doesn't matter. This one is only one maful, and the other one is maful. I need two maful.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay,
the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, cool. Okay, somebody says yeah. I'm not sure whether I should talk. No, absolutely. I don't mind the if you have a question and it's burning and you feel like you must ask, otherwise you'd forget, please interrupt me. I don't have a problem. Especially if we're discussing that particular topic, go ahead, interrupt me. Let's clear out all doubts, because I think if you ask, that's the way you learn. You will never forget that concept if you ask about it. So please, again, don't feel shy to ask questions. Always be proactive when it comes to asking questions. But I just wanted to make sure that we understand these two concepts. And of course, you have ma. Ma, I gave you the example. So for example, if I said أحب ما يفعل, or أعجبني ما يفعل. Oh, let's just go with أحب. It's easier. أحب ما يفعل. If I say أحب ما يفعل, this ما يفعل, ما يفعل, I can replace this with one مفعول به. I can just say أحب فعله. فعله. So فعله, right? I love what he does. I love his action. What he does is his action, right? So you can see that this now becomes مصدر مؤول. So you'd see that this ma, they would say in the Arab books, they would say ma masdariya, or ma, they would just call it ma masdariya, and they expect you to understand that this is a masdar mu'awwal. When you see ma masdariya, no, they're talking about masdar mu'awwal, compound ism. Is that clear about masdar mu'awwal?
And
Yes.
يفعل become يفعل?
No, because now this is a sentence. This is a sentence. Ma does not.
Oh, okay.
Ma does not work like inna. Sorry, an. An is the only one that would make mansub, but ma does not. In this case, yeah.
Oh, ma make masdar muawwal compound ism, but it does not make mansub to the mudari.
Yes, it does not do anything. An is the only one that would make mansub. Right?
That's
Can
it, I
you
think.
can you say that? Can you say an masdariya and at the same time an is harf nasab?
So okay. In i'rab books, they would most likely say an masdariya, and that should make you understand that they're talking about masdar mu'awwal. Whenever you see an masdariya, they're talking about this concept. They would rarely say an nasb, harf nasb. This is our bayina terminology. So we have bayina terminologies, and then we have like classical understanding or the terminology that is standardized, the Arabic terminology. So you have to separate the two. We have the ways in which we explain things in bayina, because these are Ustad really simplified concepts for us in bayina, alhamdulillah. But then you go to reading the Iraq books, you see some words that they normally use, and we have to make those connections. And that's why I'm giving you both, right? So in Arab books, you will not see, if you see harf nasb, they are most likely talking about something else, right? They're talking about asma, anna, that makes mansub, like anna Ahmed, right? But even those ones, they would call them af'al mushabbaha bil fi'al, like we talked about last week. So we talked about inna and her sisters last week, and now we are seeing inna also coming in, like a jumla ismiya here coming in as a compound ism. So yeah. So most likely this idea of harf nasab, you will not see it in Arab books. They would specify precisely what the harf is doing there. If it's masdari, it's masdari. If it's mushabbaha bil fi'al, mushabbaha bil fi'al. Okay.
Okay. They will talk about the action, not about the name. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. So that's why I'm
Like,
saying the naming in Arabic is very precise, and it has to do with that particular concept. Like it won't be ambiguous, like transitive is so ambiguous. Like, I mean, if you know what transitive means, fine. But if you've never heard this word, that you've never done English grammar, it sounds like a word you would never use, right? Transitive and transitive. But in Arabic, the word will actually tell you what we're dealing with directly. Like if you know it, you know it. Yeah, it's very easy. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about ma masdariya. A little bit. So ma masdariya, you cannot really confuse it with ma of negation. Okay, so ma is such a big topic, to be honest, and we're not really covering it. I don't think we will be covering it this phase. We'll see. I don't know. I have to check my notes. But because there are so many different kinds of ma, at least 8 different kinds of ma in Arabic, at least 8 different kinds. So you have to just know from the context which one it is. Ma masdariya is normally confused with ma mawsula, right? So for example, أحب ما يفعل, I can easily say أحب الذي يفعل. I can replace this ma with الذي. And normally when we can replace ma with الذي, then this ma is mawsula. And in this case, I can replace. I love the thing that he does. The thing that he does. الذي يفعل. But I can also say, I love his actions. Actions is an idea, right? So you have 2 meanings here. So normally, how do we distinguish between the two? If there's a dhamir that comes back, we talked about this last time in mawsul, ism mawsul. When there's a dhamir that comes back, what we call the a'id, then this is direct ism mawsul. Direct. If you see a dhamir, then direct ism mawsul. But what happens, we talked about the case where the dhamir is implied. Oopsie. The dhamir is not actually mentioned, the dhamir is implied. Like, for example, in this case, ma yaf'alu. Now, it can either be ma mawsula or it can be ma masdariya. In that case, we say it's either or it's both. That's the beauty of Arabic, and that gives you more meaning. So this could be, I love what he does, what, ma mawsula, what he does, or I love his actions. It boils down to the same meaning in English, but there's a slight small difference in Arabic because one refers to an idea, the other one refers to a specific thing. So it's a little bit more detailed in that sense. So that would be the difference between ma mawsula and ma masdariya. Normally it's confused between the two. Ma nahiya, ma nafiya would be a very direct thing because you can see that it's negation, right? Because I cannot say I love, he does not do. What does that mean? I love, he does not do. Doesn't make sense. You love something, you love someone, a specific idea, a specific thing. Yeah. So obviously man of negation cannot be applied here because it doesn't make sense. Yeah. All right. I hope that was clear. Yeah.
Just one thing, in when it is mazdariya, that translation of the ma, what will be the meaning of ma?
So if it's
Like
ma
how we can
masdariya,
translate?
you go to a masdar. You translate it as a masdar.
No, like
For example,
we said that, right? That, or inna, surely, right? Here ma, how we can translate it? Same
you don't
what?
translate it separately. Here it's a harf. You don't translate it separately, you translate it together.
Together, okay.
Yeah, it's seen as one thing because it's seen as one compound ism. It's seen as one unit, right? So you don't translate ma separately and then you translate, just like you don't translate an. You don't say, okay, an, how do you, like, you can maybe say that, but most of the time you just translate the whole thing together. Yeah.
Okay. Now I was thinking like ma mawsula, we translate what? Remember ma
Yes.
mazdariya.
Masdariya translate it as a masdar. The whole thing as a masdar. Because ma masdariya is a harf. Ma mawsula is an ism.
Ism, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a difference. Yes, the difference is context, yes. Yeah. So the context is what will tell you. So like for example, أحب ما يفعل. I love his actions. Right? I love his actions. I know this is a very
little
like
tricky.
this man, yeah. This man needs a lot of practice, especially because there are 8 different ones you need to identify, like know which one, in which context, and it can be a bit confusing. But just know if it translates as ma mawsula, like in this case, it can translate as ma mawsula, and it doesn't have a dhamir, then most likely this is ma masdari. Okay. So if you can translate it as ma mawsula, but it doesn't have a dhamir, that's ma masdariya.
Masdariya, that's good.
Yeah. And also if it comes after Kana and her sisters. Yeah.
Okay.
If it comes after Kana and her sisters, for example, ma kanu, kanu, sorry, yeah, it comes after, so ma kanu yaf'alun. In the Quran it comes a lot. Ma kanu yaf'alun. If you see this, right, okay. If you see this ma plus kana, this is ma masdariya. What it means is their actions. What they used to do, their actions. Refers to their actions, right? So this, if you see this sentence, this kind of structure would also tell you Isma Masdariya. There's more discussion to be had about this, and maybe I can post my notes in the group, inshallah, so that you guys can have more understanding of this. But just know an, inna, and ma, these are the common ones. And then you have others like law and kay, not very commonly used. And hamza to taswiya as well is considered harf masdari, but again, not so common ones. Okay. Let's go to passive voice. Passive voice, mabni للمجهول. Again, some Arab books would say ما لم يسمى فاعله. The thing in which the fa'il is not mentioned. Right? Again, you see with the Arabic terminology, it's very straightforward. It tells you exactly what we're talking about. They're not really messing about. So, mabni lil majhul, it is fixed upon the unknown. Who is the unknown? The fa'il. Or ma lam yusamma fa'iluhu, the one in which the fa'il is not mentioned. Okay, so this is passive voice. In bayna, we learned a trick. In the madi, you have ui sound. You have to be a monkey when you're talking about passive voice, like ooh-ee, ooh-ee. You have to sound a little bit like a monkey. So, and if in the mudara, it's yu'a, okay? So you have to make those monkey sounds. For example, we have ذهب. No, ذهب is not the right. Which word do I use? Okay. أكل. I like to use أكل a lot, so forgive me. أكل يأكل أكلا فهو آكل. Now we come to the مجهول, and then we have أو إي أوكي لا يؤكل. Okay, يؤكل. So you have you, أو إي you are. Those are sounds you need to make whenever you're talking about the passive voice. Now, the other thing about the passive voice, you cannot have the passive voice if the fi'l is lazim. So we are only talking about muta'addi whenever we are talking about passive voice. The verb has to be muta'addi. It has to have a maf'ul bihi. It has to normally, in its normal state, in its ma'loom state, in its active voice, it has to be able to take on a maf'ul bihi. Whether it has or not, it's not a problem, but it has to have that ability. Okay? Then now I can say, oh, it was eaten. I'm not saying who did it, because I told you, whenever you have a ta'diyah, you have the doer, and you have the doer of the action, and then you have the action that is, yani the done to, we call it in the baina, right? The doer and the done to. So the action, the doer is doing the action, but the action is occurring to something or someone else, right? So even if I remove the doer, the action you can see is still occurring to something or someone else. That's the idea of passive voice. Even if the doer is not mentioned, the action is still occurring to something or someone else, right? So that's the passive voice. Ukila al-ka'k. The cake was eaten. Who did it? I didn't say, right? It's none of your business. It was just eaten. Or maybe the rat ate it. I don't know. But it was eaten. That's the idea of the passive voice. Is that clear? Do you have any questions on that?
Yeah.
So if you don't have the doer, then you have the naib fa'il, right?
Exactly. So now, that's thank you for reminding me, because that's an important discussion to be had. Yes, if you remove the doer, right? And now you have the done to, and this done to is sounding like the doer. So this done to has become sort of like a helper to the doer. So in the passive voice, the done to, the maf'ul bihi, becomes the na'ibul fa'il. So now it takes on rafa status, just like the fa'il. Fa'il, we know fa'il is marfu', right? The na'ib fa'il is also marfu', but it was initially a maf'ul bihi that became a na'ib fa'il in the passive voice. So let me give you an example so that we can actually understand this concept very well.
So that's why we said like verb has to be muta'addi. It cannot be lazim, right?
Exactly. It has to be
okay.
muta'addi. Yes. So let's go with the same example I gave you. أكل أحمد تفاحة, maybe. Let's go away from the cake a little bit. أكل أحمد أحمد تفاحة. Ahmed is the doer. تفاحة is the مفعول به, right? Now I want to make it مبني للمجهول, so I remove أحمد. So أكل تفاحة. Now, look, it went from tan to tun. Yeah, so that's kind of what happens. Right? Ukila tufahatun. An apple was eaten. Who ate it? I don't know. I didn't say. Is that clear?
Yes.
Fantastic. So let's finish off with hal, and then we go to examples and we proceed. Al-hal answers the question how an action is happening. There's an action happening, there's somebody doing the action, maybe even there's a maf'ul bihi or whatever, it doesn't really matter, but hal comes in to explain how the doer of the action is doing that action. For example, if I say جاء الولد باكيا. جاء الولد باكيا. The boy came. How did he come? Crying. So you can see it's us answering how this boy was doing something while another action was happening. The action that was happening was him coming, but he just didn't come in your normal standard state. No, he came in a certain particular state. That's what I want to capture. So bakiyan is capturing how that action happened. Okay. Now the hal can either be an isim mufrad, like we just see bakiyan, and of course it's going to be mansoob, right? So it can just be one word, or it can be an entire sentence. For example, yabki. So instead of say bakiyan, which is an ism, I replace it with a jumla fi'aliya, yabki. Ja'a al-waladu yabki. The boy came crying, right? So this yabki is an entire sentence. We know a jumla fi'aliya is made up of two main parts, a fi'l and a fa'il. Yabki is an entire sentence on its own. He was crying, or he crying, yeah? He is crying, or something like that. It's really hard to translate that as an fi'al, as a jumla fi'aliyah, but that's the idea. So the boy came while he is crying. So this would be a jumla haliyah, or it would be the hal of the boy, right? An entire sentence. You can also say the same thing. Instead of now a jumla fi'aliyah, we replace it with a jumla ismiyah. So ja'a al-waladu wa huwa bakin. Sorry, what am I writing? وهو باكٍ. Okay. جاء الولد وهو باكٍ. Or وهو يبكي. You could also do that, right? So now this entire sentence وهو يبكي, that would be the hal of the boy. But هو باكٍ is a jumla ismiya. هو مبتدا باكٍ خبر. We covered this in the first session. But this wow is what we call wow haliyah, right? This wow is what we call wow haliyah. So whenever you see a wow followed by a jumla ismiya, this wow is most likely jumla haliyah, is wow haliyah, right? We had this in the form that you guys filled in the entrance, whatever, like questionnaire or whatever, and most of you didn't get it. Because you're like, oh, wow, it's enough. It's beginning a new sentence. But no, most of the time, whenever you have wow followed by a jumla ismiya, that's a dead giveaway that this wow is wow haliyah, right? Yeah.
Can you talk about Zulhal or no?
Sorry, can I talk about?
Something called Zulhal?
Sahibul hal, you mean?
Oh, Sahibul hal, okay.
Yes. Sahibul hal is the person who is coming in that particular, or who's in that state. So when you say Sahibul hal, the owner of the hal, the person or the thing that is in a particular state. What is that thing? For example, here al-waladu. Al-waladu is the one who is in the state of crying. So that's the Sahibul hal, right? In jumla ismiya, whenever the hal comes as a jumla ismiya, you don't have a Sahibul hal, especially if it comes with qad. وقد, if you have qad, then you don't really need to look at for the Sahibul hal. Sometimes it's really difficult to find the Sahibul hal, but most of the time you would have a Sahibul hal, the person or the thing whose state is being described. So that would be the Sahibul hal. If walad is common, is this still hal? Yeah. جاء ولد باكيا. A boy, we don't know who this boy is. He came crying, right? So the only idea, if you make walad common, it's just the idea that I don't know this boy. But if I say جاء الولد, the boy came. So that would be the only difference. Bakiyan will still be hal because bakiyan is nakira and it's mansub. وهو يبكي, still the same thing. وهو باkin, still the same thing. Yeah. Clear?
So like waladan, if it is sahibul hal can be nakira or marifa, both, right? That's what you say.
Yes. You reminded me. Sorry. Yes, of course, this is the discussion of sifa. Right. Yeah. Sorry. So obviously, now that yes and no. Okay, so it depends with the context. If I say جاء ولد باكيا, this باكيا could still be a hal because it's describing how this boy came. But most of the time we normally say, you know, if you have nakira and then it's followed by something mansub, most likely that is the sifa. And then if you have proper, then it's followed by something that is mansub. Yeah, then it's going to be hal. But the context would tell you. The context would tell you in that case, right? Yeah. Because if I say جاء ولد باكيا, the walad cannot be موصوف صفة because it's waladun, and this is باكيا, right? So it's not matching four properties. So باكيا would still be a hal, yes. Yeah. I think we have sifa. We'll talk about موصوف sifa in one of these concepts that are coming, inshallah. And we can combine both of those so that we can see a clear picture of what is happening. Any other questions as far as these topics are concerned? Fantastic. So now let's go to the exercise. Now this is the part where you do the exercise yourself, try and identify. We've mentioned all those different concepts, and all those different concepts are found in these examples. So try and find them as much as you can. Do this on your own. I'm going to give you, let's say, 5 minutes, because there are 5 examples here. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do this. So just to recap, we have استفهام, تعدية لمفعولين, مصدر مؤول, passive voice, الحال. Watch out for التعدية لمفعولين because it's a tricky one. Like, you might not immediately see it, but it's going to be there. Okay. And yeah, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. So let's say begin now. Work on the exercises. And for those of you who are watching the recording, you can pause this video right now. Work on those exercises, and inshallah, when we come back, we can discuss them. All right. So yeah, I know this is packed. All the concepts are most likely present in almost every one of this. So there's a lot to unpack, but let's begin, inshallah. So number 1, and I think some of you got it correct. Some of you may have missed a little bit, but it's fine. Yes. Okay. هل, we know هل. One of the أداة استفهام, one of the أدوات الاستفهام. وجدت. So وجد is one of those fi'ls that take on 2 مفعول بهs, especially if it has to do with the idea of the mind. If it has, like, it's not physically finding. Like if I say, I found a book on the table. I found a book. That you physically found this thing, right? But if I found this thing in my mind, I found it in my mind, then this is what we're talking about 2 مفعول بهs. So whenever you have this idea of the mind, then we are talking about 2 مفعول بهs. So وجد الدرس. I found the dars, the lesson, مفيدا, beneficial. These are concepts. They're not really a physical thing. You cannot really touch مفيدا, beneficial. You cannot really touch a lesson, right? They are, they're not physical things. So this is why الدرس is مفعول به number 1, and مفيدا would be مفعول به number 2. Okay? So وجد is متعدي لمفعولين in that sense. Okay. So the rest, I think it's clear. وجد is فعل ماضي. وجدتم, أنتم is the فاعل, right? الدرس again مفعول به number 1. مفيدا is المفعول به number 2. Now, of course, if wajada was referring to a physical thing, like if I found a book gray, I found this book gray, like the color of it, I found it to be gray. Now, this is something that you physically found, or maybe not even like, yeah, you physically found it like that. If that's the case, then it won't be 2 مفعول به, it would be مفعول به and حال. Just to point out, because somebody mentioned حال, and I just wanted to clarify that. You know, but again, don't really worry about this. Inshallah, in phase 2, we'll talk about this أفعال القلوب, and we'll get into details about that. Okay, the second one, متى. Again, we know متى اسم استفهام. متى علمت, When did you know? علمت فعل ماضي فاعل أنت. Okay? When did you know? What? So when did you know what? Now we see that أن الحق هي سدت مسد مفعولي علم. Right? When did you know the truth to be clear? So this whole thing again, علم takes on two مفعول بهs, or rather it takes on a مفعول به, and this whole sentence replace that مفعول به. أن الحق, so أن, we talked about أن and her sisters last week. So أن الحق, أن and its ism, you can look at it as the مبتدا bucket. That's the bayina way of looking at it. But in Arab books, they will look at أن separately. They will look at حق separately. They will look at واضح separately. And of course, واضح is the khabar of أن. Right? It's the khabar of أن. So I hope that's clear. أين كسر الزجاج? أين, we know أين, where, we covered this. You guys gave me all these words. So أداة استفهام. كسر, or اسم استفهام in this case. كسر, OE sound. مبني للمجهول. I don't think anybody mentioned that, right? So كسر, OE sound. This is مبني للمجهول. الزجاج in that case. Why? Because الزجاج is going to be the نائب مفعول. Sorry, the نائب فاعل, right? أين كسر? Where did the glass break? Or yeah, something like that. Okay. So كسر, to break something, to break something, right? كسرت الزجاج. I broke the glass. كسرت الزجاج. But then كسر الزجاج, the glass was broke. Who broke it? We are not mentioning, right? So that's what's happening there. And of course, الزجاج is what we said, نائب فاعل. يظن. يظن. What is that? That is مبني للمجهول. ظن يظن. But you are sound. Remember I told you have to make the monkey sounds. U-E, you-a. Right? So here we saw U-E, and now here we are seeing you-a. Right? يظن مبني للمجهول. And again, ظن is one of those verbs that take on two مفعول بهs. And normally it comes with an. يظن أن. Right? So this an plus this مصدر مؤول, this whole thing would be سدت مسد مفعولي ظن, or يظن in this case, right? So that's what's happening in that context. And then an حرف مصدري. الأمر is mansub because of an, right? And then you have سهلون is the khabar in that case, right? أأعطيت الفقير المال مبتسما أم أخذ منه قصرا? This must have been a challenging one, I'm sure. So أعطيت, and how do you know that this is a sentence? This is a question. You look at the end. I gave you a question mark. So that means one of these hamzas is a question, right? No, most of the time you might not. Arabs don't really care much about punctuation. But sometimes they will give you punctuation, and that would indicate to you, especially in the Quran, you're not going to find any punctuation, right? You'll not see question marks in the Quran. But what will make you understand that this is a question? You have to know these question words, right? So the first one, a is hamza al-istifham. Then you have أعطيت, أنت, did you give? So فعل ماضي, and of course the فاعل is أنت. الفقيرة, أعطيت من? So الفقيرة. Okay, so this answers the question who. So this is my مفعول به number 1. I get it. What did you give this poor person? المال. Okay, what? This answers the question what. So now I found أعطيت has two مفعول بهs. الفقيرة مفعول به number 1. المال مفعول به number 2. Then you have مبتسما. What's happening with مبتسما? This مبتسما, you can see it's mansub, it's nakira, and it's following like a verb, right? So there's an action happening, the action of giving, and this mubtasiman is indicating how you gave. So it answers the question how. So this means that this mubtasiman is a hal. How did you give this money to the poor? I gave this money mubtasiman, smiling, right? So now this is a question. Somebody is asking, did you give the money to the poor person smiling? Or normally this hamza comes with That's a very normal thing to see there. So remember that. أخذ, OE sound. What do you see there? OE sound. Again, more monkey sounds. So this is مبني للمجهول. ماضي مبني للمجهول. All right. Or it was taken from him. قصرا means forcefully. Right. So when I say forcefully, مبتسما, smiling, forcefully. What do you imagine? This is حال again, because it's answering how. How was it taken from him? Forcefully, right? So yeah, number 4 kind of combined, I think, everything that we have covered. And that's a good exercise to always remind yourself of these concepts. Kindly repeat number 4. Okay, I will. 4 is passive. We still can say.
No, like the Irab, how you did the Irab of the number 4?
Okay. So يظن is فعل مضارع مبني للمجهول, because ظن يظن, ظن يظن, right? So this يظن is مبني للمجهول, right? And of course this verb is متعدي لمفعولين. It takes 2 مفعول بهs, right? So we expect 2 مفعول بهs. But because it's passive, and again I think I made a mistake here. So because it's passive, 1 مفعول به is going to turn into a فاعل, right? Sorry, نائب فاعل. 1 مفعول به is going to turn into a نائب فاعل, but the other مفعول به will still be there. The other مفعول به will still be there. So يظن, right? Then this whole thing, أن الأمر سهل, would be the مفعول به of يظن. Would be the مفعول به.
Oh, this is Anna. That's okay.
Yes, أن الأمر.
Okay.
Normally,
Actually, I was having
Yuzannu can be from maf'ul too, right?
Yes. But Avanna, I don't know that word exists. I have to confirm, to be honest.
No, but it
I
is,
said it is coming both with maf'ul and majhul also, but here we have sadda maf'ulain. That means it is from maf'ul, not majhul.
But does the word Avanna to make someone assume? Maybe.
But majhul isn't that middle letter take the sorry, ifal take kasra.
Fatha if it's majhul. So yuslamu مثلا. So we say aslama. I'm going to do the sarf of all this, by the way, in a little bit, so probably you'll understand. But in aslama, af'ala family, so aslama yuslimu, and then uslima yuslamu, right? So yudhannu yuslamu, yuf'alu. So it can be, but I have to confirm, يعني. But here the intended meaning is not from af'ala family. It's from family number 1. It's from this is dhanna yadhunnu
dhanna yadhunnu, and then majhul will be yuzannu, right?
Yeah. Qasran means forcefully, yes, by force. Forcefully, by force. Yeah.
Sister, could you kindly next time, if you can put the haraka? I was having hard time without reading haraka. Without the haraka.
I'll try. But I thought I helped you with the last. That was still hard, even with the. Okay, fine.
Haraka, because we are not expert in reading Arabic very without haraka, you know.
I understand.
So
My
that's
bad.
why I was having hard time no, and I was thinking why Al-Amra has fatha. An is not in Anna.
Okay.
An is again.
I understand. Okay, inshallah, next time I'll be more cautious of that, and I would put all the haraka so that it's easier, and because of time, so that you can mark it quicker, inshallah. Okay, so let's do the sarf of some of the verbs that come into this. Again, I'm just going to do the sarf saghir. I'm not going to do the sarf kabir. You can do that on your own. So we start with wajada. Wajada yajidu. So somebody advised me correctly to be able to write this so that you guys can see. So wajada yajidu. وجودا فهو واجد. Right? And then وجد, because وجد is فعل متعدي, so we have the passive line. So وجد يوجد. Maybe I can just write it. وجد يوجد. Again, وجودا فهو موجود. You've had this probably so many times. موجود. Right? Whenever I say the khabar is محذوف, then we say, oh, it probably means موجود. Right? For example, علي موجود في البيت. We can just easily say علي في البيت. We don't need to mention موجود. So this is where that comes from, right? موجود. Then you have مفيدا. So أفاد. This is أسلم family now. أفعل family. So أفاد. Now this is أجوف. Just to mention. And وجد was بثال واوي. Just to mention those irregularities so that it can be at the back of your mind. أفاد يفيد. يفيد إفادة. Again, I mentioned last time, like أقام يقيم إقامة. You have a ta marbuta that comes in because it feels hollow. The alif makes it, this center makes it hollow. So now we want to make it more solid by adding a ta marbuta. So أفاد يفيد إفادة فهو مفيد. There it is. مفيد. Then, of course, this one is again متعدي. So أفيد يفاد. Again, إفادة فهو مفاد. Right, مفاد. So that's how you do the sarf of that. And then we have متى علمت. علم يعلم. This one you should have memorized it because it's one of the 6 families of family number 1, 6 babs. So علم. What am I doing? علم يعلم علما فهو عالم. عالم, we are familiar with that word. Somebody who's knowledgeable is a عالم, right? But because it's متعدي, it has a passive line. So علم يعلم. Again, علما فهو معلوم. This is also a common word that we use. معلوم, a piece of information, a piece of knowledge, right? معلوم, the thing that is known. That would be معلوم. Okay. واضح. Let's see here. Translate 4, please. يظن أن الأمر سهل. It is assumed that the matter is easy. It is assumed. It is thought, right? That the matter is easy. That's how you would translate. Okay. What else did we have here? علم أن واضح. So وضح يضح. Again, this is what? This is مثال واوي because you have واو at the beginning. So it's beginning with واو. وضح يضح. So you don't say يوضح because فتح يفتح. You don't say يوضح. No. It's ugly. We don't like ugly sounds in Arabic. So وضح يضح وضحا فهو واضح. There it is. واضح. Right? Yeah. وضح يضح وضحا فهو واضح. وضح يوضح وضحا فهو موضوح. I don't know if this exists, to be honest, but right. Okay. And then what else do we have? كسر يكسر. كسر يكسر. كسر يكسر. كسرا فهو كاسر. Again, this one it's متعدي, so it has a passive line. كسر يكسر كسرا فهو مكسور. Something that is broken is a مكسور. مكسور. And then ظن يظن. So we can do that as well. Again, this is also متعدي. So ظن يظن يظن ظن like a doubt or like some kind of like assumption. That's the word. ظن فهو ظان ظان. That is a person, right? ظن يظن ظان or like the dua. And then ظن يظن like the one we have now. Again, ظن فهو مذنون. So you break the noons together. This is called مضاعف or مضاعف. Both the names are used. So مضاعف, where you have the last letter being doubled or the last letter being the same. That's what's happening there. What else do we have? أعطى يعطي. So أعطى يعطي. إعطاء. missing the طاء. إعطاء فهو Now this is ناقص. معطٍ. No, معطٍ. There's no معطٍ, right? أعطى يعطي إعطاء فهو معطٍ. The ya goes away because this is ناقص. And then of course because it's متعدي, so أعطي وإي sound وإي. So أعطي يعطى. Oh, I mean, you can say just أعطي, no need for the fatha because there's nothing making it mansub. So أعطي, the normal version is أعطى, right? It ends with ألف مكسورة. But the مجهول version is أعطي. Actually, yeah. What am I saying? Yeah, أعطي يعطى يعطى. The مضارع is يعطي. But the majhul is يعطى. I know this is gonna break your brains, but yeah, practice makes perfect, guys. يعطى إعطاء فهو معطن. Yeah. With ناقص, trust me, it's not gonna come easy. You're gonna have to like put in some struggle in there. Yeah. So even myself, like to be honest, sometimes I struggle with ناقص, especially with the لفيف مفروق, لفيف مقرون, when it's now not just ناقص at the end, when it's not just ya or wow at the end, now you have maybe wow or ya at the beginning, or it gets a bit complicated. Anyway, don't worry so much about that. As long as you get the basic sarf in, you're good. مبتسما, I think, oh, we have one more. مبتسما, so ابتسم ابتسم يبتسم. Go ahead. Oh, you were doing the sarf with me. Okay, good. Nice. ابتساما فهو مبتسم. Again, forgive my beautiful handwriting here. ابتسم يبتسم ابتساما فهو مبتسم. Now, to smile. Is that when I say I smiled, is that action happening to something or someone else, or is it happening to myself? That action is happening to me. So you can clearly see that ibtasama is lazim. So we're not going to do the passive line because it's lazim. It doesn't need a passive line, right? When I'm smiling, the smile is occurring on me. Right? Then we have أخذ يأخذ. And here, of course, it's in the majhul version that already tells you we're going to do the passive line. So أخذ. And again, just to mention the irregularity here, this is mahmuz al-fa. So we have hamza at the beginning, mahmuz al-fa. أخذ يأخذ أخذا فهو آخذ. So here, the two hamzas, they merge, they come together and they form a madda. آخذ, right? And then, of course, the passive line is أخذ يؤ. The hamza comes back. يؤخذ, or rather, it didn't go anywhere, but you know, we ui sound. So you sound. يؤخذ Again, أخذا, I'm not gonna write that. فهو مأخوذ, just like مفعول, مأخوذ, مجزوم, منصوب, مرفوع, right? That's the same pattern, مأخوذ. Okay. Now let's go on to the next version. Again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep this limited to 1.5 hours, but honestly, it's proving harder than possible. So you're just gonna have to bear with me. Okay. So let's quickly, I'm gonna set up this quiz so that you guys can do this. Again, we are looking at taraka yatruku. So to do the sarf, I'm gonna do the sarf saghir of that. So taraka yatruku tarkan fahuwa tarikun. ترك يترك تركا فهو متروك. Again, متروك is a word that is used for something that is discarded. Like garbage would be called متروك. Like something that is discarded, something that is left behind, متروك. Okay, I'm going to launch the poll right now. So let's see what you can be able to do. Should be appearing in your screens right now. So just make sure you answer the questions to the best of your ability. You don't have to be right. We'll quickly go through that. For those of you who are watching the recording, again, pause the recording here, attempt the quiz, and then when you come back, we'll explain it, inshallah. I'm going to give you guys, I don't know, 3 minutes. Come on. So make sure you're clicking the last, pick the last ones. Okay, I'm going to end it so that we can discuss it, inshallah. So let me share the results here with you guys. Can I do this? If I do that, what happens? Oh, I think that's a better way so that even the people who are watching recordings can be able to see them. Right? I don't know what are you seeing both screens? Are you seeing like a pop-up and also like the main screen? I don't know how you're seeing it.
Yes.
So I remove the pop-up.
I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can go with the screen. All right. So let's discuss this. So the first one, I think most of you got it right. Turikat. So she was left. Here, turikat. Again, the process is to just go in your head. Okay, how do I say he was left? Okay, he was left, turika. How do I go from huwa to here? Okay, and this is the madi. So you start with asking yourself, first of all, is it madi? Is it mudari'? What are we dealing with here? Once you figure that out, then who is the doer, right? Or who is the na'ib fa'il in this case, because we are in the passive line. So turikat, here turikat. She was left behind or something. Utruki, anti utruki. This is an amr. Leave. You female, leave. Okay, so that cannot be it. Tatruku, this could be anta tatruku, you leave, or here tatruku. Again, but this one is mudara. It's not madi. So tutraku, again, this is not it's not madi, it's mudara, right? So the correct answer was turikat in that sense. Then we have both of them were left. Can I close this? Okay, good. Both of them were left. So huma, again, were left. This is madi, so I have to think in the madi. Okay, huma turika. So that would have been the right answer. I think most of you got it right. Yutrakani, again, so this is mudara. So you have to differentiate between madi and mudara. Mudara is always going to end with, in the dual and the plural form, is going to have noon at the end, and it's going to begin with the yant letters, y, ya, so ya, ta, alif, or noon at the beginning. So that would be indication of mudara, but we're not in the mudara, we are in the madi. So look at the, be careful how I'm translating it. Am I translating it in mudara or in the madi? Right? So wa left in the madi, turika, both of them, wa left. And of course, the answer here is turika, right? And this one, I think this one got you, because we have quite a number of people who are a bit confused. We are being left. Now again, being left, I know maybe it sounds like mudara, but this is actually madi, right? This is, sorry. What? Yeah. This is, wait, what? Did I confuse myself here? Okay, yeah, being is the I know. This one is my bad. This one, the translation, because it's so hard to say that we are being living. It's so difficult to translate this in a way that it is mudari', but it is also majhul. So this is actually mudari', sorry, not madi. And I think that's where I confused quite a bit of you. And also I must have confused myself as well. Because again, being, this one tells you that this is mudara' and not madi, right? So as you can see, the way I translated the other ones, there was no being. Again, majhul is hard to translate. Majhul is a hard one to translate, to be honest, right? Especially if it's the mudara' majhul. So nahnu nutraku, we are being left, right? We are being left. But turikna, we were left. We were left. Turikna. So I think that's where we get a bit confused. Yatrukuna, huwa yatrukuna, he leaves us. So this one cannot be it. He leaves us. But turikna, that's madi, and nutraku would be the mudari', and that's the one we were looking for. Nutraku, we are being left. It was a tough one, honestly, I can admit. Yeah, but practice makes perfect. Yes, go ahead.
So turikna, if we say we were left, will it be majhul?
Yes.
We were left. It looks like it.
That's madi. Turikna, we were left. Who left us? We don't know. Because again, who is the doer? We don't know.
Oh,
but we are being
left.
done to, right? So we are the na'ib fa'il. Get it? Okay. Yeah, I tried, to be honest, I tried to change the font, but Zoom doesn't allow me to do that. So I don't know if it's possible for you to be able to just zoom in on your screen yourself. Maybe you can try that next time. Just try and make the screen bigger, like zooming in, right? Hopefully that would assist. But I tried, I couldn't. Okay, let's go next. All right, we're gonna do this very, very quickly, to be honest. These ones are easy and fun. So I am mostly common and mansoob. Ask yourself, what is common and mansoob? I appear while the action is happening. Okay, the answer is already in that sentence. I appear while the action is happening. I tell you what it looked like while happening. Again, guys, very obvious. I often come up after complete sentences. So what am I here? Yeah, this one is a bit obvious, isn't it? I didn't make it so difficult. Yes, I made it a bit. Yes, this is hard. You got it. So while, this word while is actually how we translate hal, right? That should just have told you. Yeah, wow, halia. Beautiful. In fact, wow, halia. It's like you combined wow, halia, and you got while. I don't know. That's just me being funny. Anyway, let's do this. Let's complete this, inshallah. So you know the concept. We did the concept. I'm gonna spin the wheel. Wherever it lands, you guys are gonna give me one short sentence, however you like. If you want to give me an ayah of the Quran, okay. If you want to come up with a sentence on your own, that's also perfectly fine. But the idea is for you to just come up with something. And please, whether you share it or you don't share it, you have to do this exercise. We have landed on Masdar Mu'awwal. I'm actually happy here. I wanted Ta'diyya, but Masdar Mu'awwal is also good. So remember, Masdar Mu'awwal, an plus mudara', that's the easiest one. So give me an plus mudara', that's the easiest one. But if you want to test yourself, you can use anna, plus ism mansoob plus khabar of anna, and then you add a fi'al to that, so that it can be like a proper masdar mu'awwal. And if you want to really, really, test yourself, then you can do ma masdariya, but you don't need to like pressure yourself too much, right? Just, yeah, give me something with a masdar mu'awwal. So an plus
we say it,
مضارع.
we say by mouth, right?
If you want, yes. If you want, you can say it. If you want, you can type it.
Yeah.
If you want, you can send me a screenshot. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
No, like if I say أريد أن يذهب إلى المسجد.
Okay. Yes. I want him to go to the masjid. Yes, beautiful.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's perfect. أريد أن يذهب إلى المسجد. I want him to go to the masjid. Beautiful.
Like I'm
That is the
asking my
masdar
son
mu'awwal.
like that. Oh.
Yes. أريد أن أنام. Yes, I want to sleep. I'm sorry. By the way, I know it might be late for some of you guys. So you might be wanting to actually sleep. May Allah make it easy for you. I'm really honored that you guys are joining me live at very late hours. It really inspires me to do the best. So, جزاكم الله خيرا. ظننت أن الصف سهلا. Okay, so سهلا is spelled with a sin, not a sad, right? So maybe that could also be practicing your writing skills. That's good. Yeah. So أن الصف, this one you would say سهلون, سهلون, not سهلا, سهلون, because the whole sentence, the مصدر مؤول is سدت مسدة مفعولي ظن, right? So ظننت أن الصف سهل. All right. Okay, so that's basically, I hope you guys are working the examples and you're really trying to push yourself. And for those of you who really need to sleep, I mean, please go ahead and sleep, honestly. You can always catch the recording and when you're fresh and your mind is so that you can actually make use of this exercise or this class even better, right? Okay. As we are winding up, so obviously I like to do this exercise whenever I give you an ayah. I want you to actually reflect on the ayah, because what's the point of us learning Arabic? What's the point of us especially learning Quranic Arabic if we're not really actually applying it on the Quran? It doesn't make sense, right? So the most important part is actually we do this exercise, you go back and you sit with the ayah and you say, okay, what does Allah want me to understand from this ayah? And you start asking yourself questions. And some of the questions I've given you here, you know, a bunch of questions. You can use this, you can ask your own questions. Allah Ta'ala alam, this is just to help you. So, you know, for example, why say al-insan, a single individual, instead of saying an-nas, everyone? Why mention every single? Does every man think that they would be left purposelessly? So that means to be left, yani, to no purpose, uselessly, with no end, yani, with no objective. This is what the meaning of Sudan, right? Turika Sudan. It was just left aimlessly, purposelessly. It's a common phrase that is used. So does man think that he's just going to be left without any purpose, without an objective, without a goal, without, you know, no, of course not. So, but why is al-insan, every man specifically used in the individual, in the singular, and not an-nas? Some of the questions you can use. Can busyness sometimes be a form of Sudan? Purposelessness. Except most of us are so busy every single day. But what makes up our business? Is it just scrolling on TikTok? Or is it just watching movies? Or is it just entertainment and fun? What is our business, right? So can busyness sometimes be a form of Sudan? That's a question you need to ask yourself, right? You know, what does this signs or the person is living aimlessly, purposelessly? What does it mean to live with a purpose? That's the whole idea, right? How can your life change if, you know, you knew that you were not going to be left without a purpose, that you have a purpose in this life? How purposeful would your life look like in that sense? So make sure you do that. And finally, this is just homework for those of you. Again, reflect on the ayah. That's my #1 homework. If you want, you can share it with us in the group, or you can share it on Quran Reflect. I'd be happy to read your reflections and review them on Quran Reflect and leave a comment and maybe even re-reflect. We have a new feature called re-reflect, where you can take that reflection and add your own reflections to it. It's a really cool concept. So if you read somebody's reflection and it inspires you to reflect on another aspect of it, you can re-reflect on the ayah as well. So do that. You practice the sarf of taraka yatruku, especially the majhul version, because I know that ui sound, remember ui, ua, monkey sounds, remember those? So brush up on the sarf. And finally, try to read something on Kana and her sisters, which means that inshallah next week we're going to talk about Kana and her sisters. We've talked about Inna and her sisters. We mentioned a little bit about Dhanna and her sisters, but not in detail. Like I mentioned, that one's going to come later. But now, inshallah, next week we're going to talk about Kana and her sisters. So you see Arabic letters, they have sisters. Like they're not just, they don't come alone. Yeah, they have sisters ganging up on each other and whatever, doing stuff. So I hope you really enjoyed this class. And with that, I don't want to take any more time. We've already gone way above time. I don't know if there are any other burning questions that somebody wants to ask. Please, we can take one or two, and then
Yeah,
if
just
not,
one burning question from me. Like you said in the middle, like the one is the like family tree. You add the tamarbuta, like afada. It said something is hollow. I couldn't get that one. Like why adding
ajwaf.
tamarbuta?
So
Yeah.
we have. So this, and by the way, anybody who wants to leave, feel free to leave. We've ended the class. The class has pretty much ended, but unless you have a question or you want to listen to the answer. So afada, what we mean by ajwaf or hollow is normally this alif here is replacing either a weak letter, and a weak letter is either waw or a ya. So this is ya actually. The root letters are fa, ya, and dal, right? So it was supposed to be af yada. Sorry, not like that, but af yada. Like aslama, it was supposed to be af yada. But now af yada doesn't sound right to the Arabs. Like they're not, no, we need to make it smooth because Arabic is such a smooth language, right? So now this ya is replaced with an alif. So now you have afada. But this alif is not really a letter. Alif creates some hollowness into the word. Like it feels empty. Even when you look at it, like it just feels empty in the middle. So that's why we're saying it's hollow. And that's what ajwaf means. Actually, ajwaf means that it's a hollow verb. Jawf is a hole, like a cave, like something that is empty inside. Yeah, that would be
Stomach.
ajwaf. That would be jawf. Sorry, say that.
Like a stomach.
Stomach?
Stomach.
I don't know what that means.
The belly. She's talking the belly.
Stomach, yes. Yeah, okay, yes. Sorry. Yeah, it's just that you said it a bit different than the way we said it. But yeah, yes. Yeah, like a stomach, like, yes, it's empty on the inside, so it's hollow, right? So that's what we mean by ajwaf.
Yes, so for that reason, we're adding the tamarbuta at the end, you said?
Yes.
Like
normally it's family 4 and family 10. These two families, yeah, we're going to do that.
Tamarbuta, ifadatan, because of this hollowness, right?
Yes. Or like istiqama. Yeah.
Jazakallah.
Any other burning questions before we end? All right. Fantastic. I'm going to end there. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'll see you guys inshallah next week.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خيرا كثيرا.